Yo, what's up everybody? Jumpin here, and today I'm going to be showing you a alternate Geth trooper build. This is going to be the Geth tank. The weapon I'm actually going to recommend for this is going to be the collector sniper rifle. Mainly because from my experience, I thought that this was one of the better guns for him because of the massive DPS. I recommend the high velocity barrel because weight doesn't really matter, and just piercing. I don't know if it stacks, but I hope it does. Hey, it might. But if it doesn't stack, then I don't really know. It doesn't really matter much. It's up to you what you want to use, but that's what I would recommend. Okay, now for the build. This is the one without hunter mode, and I think is better personally. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing for this. It's going to be reach damage and armor damage. Now for fortification, it's the same thing. Durability, power synergy, that really does matter. And then durability. Network AI is the same. It's going to be weapons damage, power damage, and weapons damage. The only real difference here is just the fitness. No hunter mode and pure fitness. Now, what's great about this is that without hunter mode, you won't have to take any shield penalty, and you'll get 1,650 shields with 40% damage reduction. Crazy. Alright, now for the equipment, I'm going to be using Incendiary Rounds 3, Sniper Rifle Rail Lamp 3, Operative Package 5, and Cyclonic 3. Alright, let's get into the gameplay. Alrighty, so this is going to be the gameplay, and it's going to be on Reactor. Unfortunately, it's just a regular Reactor, and I was playing Unknown, so it just happens like this sometimes, so I hate to post the same map twice, but hey. And then it's also going to be against Reapers. Now, a couple things to remember. Without Hunter Mode, this guy will have his full shields, which is the 1,650, which is great. With Fortification, he's going to get 50%, not 50%, but 40% damage reduction. So, in general, he's really beefy, even without a Cyclonic, to be quite honest. With a Cyclonic, he's even more beefy. I'm only using a Cyclonic 3 in this game, but if you have the Cyclonic 4, you're going to push your shields up 150% with that. Cyclonic 3s only give you 100%. Now, what a Cyclonic 4 would do is give you 1,500 more shields. Now, those 1,500 more shields, that would be added to the 1,650, which would make it 3,150. So that's a crazy amount of shields. I mean, super beefy. That's like Krogan practically, pretty much like a destroyer. The biggest difference between this guy compared to everyone else, the one thing I thought about, is that the only other person, well, there is one other person who could maybe do this, but just think about this. What other character in the game is this beefy, 3,150 shields, and can dodge? That's the thing that this Geth gets. He gets his dodge, so you can avoid damage and move quickly, unlike other people. Now, the Destroyer can dodge as well, but you have to not use Devastator mode. And honestly, the Destroyer without Devastator mode, that just makes no sense. So, he's the only other one though. So this guy, in my opinion, is pretty much the only one. Because Destroyers, almost every build consists of Devastator mode, and it just makes the most sense. Now before you ask, I'm sure you're wondering, why the Collector Sniper Rifle? What's up with the weapon? Well, the reason why I like this weapon is because, and I did a video about the Collector Sniper Rifle, and I said that it's a good weapon as long as you use it on something that has certain powers that will allow you to recharge it easily. And when I was thinking about this guy, I was thinking about strapping on a particle rifle. And then when I thought about it, I was like, wait a minute, why would I want to use a particle rifle when I could use something like this Collector Sniper Rifle? This gun has an insane amount of DPS. It's really, really crazy high. I think it's more than the particle rifle. The main difference between this gun and the particle rifle, though, is that this gun gets its damage immediately. So, like, the second you start shooting it, you're going to do your massive, it's like 1,300, I don't really know the numbers, but I believe it's about 1,300 DPS, which is one of the highest DPSs in the game. But you're going to get that massive amount of DPS immediately, compared to the particle rifle, which has to charge up. So, that's my main reason I like it, because what I like to do, my playstyle with this, is, besides the fact I like to be really beefy. Now, your armor can be anything you want. If you want to use a Cyclonic, that's cool. You can even strap on Adrenaline, which would be really good as well, because then you can move faster. Shield power cells, so that you can get your shields back quicker. Or you can even use Power Amp to make your Flamer stronger. So there's a lot of armor bonuses you can choose from. I personally still do think, though, Cyclonic is the best one for him, just because you want to make him as beefy as possible. because it's really hard for enemies to kill you unless they can take your shield down, and your shield is so massive that that is pretty much unlikely to happen. Anyway though, like I said, so the way I like to play with him is I like to use Flamer first, then I will use my, like right there, this right here is a great example of it. I like to flame the enemies first, setting them up for fire, and then I like to use my collector sniper rifle to drain their shields really quick or just do a massive amount of damage. And when I say a massive amount of damage, it's a crazy amount of damage. I mean, brutes have 13,000 and like 500 armor, and I drop them in like seconds. I mean, it's so quick. I just set them on fire, and then once I do that, I start shooting with this the collector sniper rifle. And because I have incendiary ammo on as well, that's even more DPS. So the DPS is, it's over 9,000, guys. Yeah, that's not really a real number, but it is really crazy. I mean, you can really drop a Banshee, a Brute, or really any big enemy so quick. I would also say that you could try this as well. If you don't want to use incendiary ammo, you can actually strap on disruptor ammo once again, or even phasic ammo. That would actually be pretty good too, because I don't really know exactly what that does, but I think it does something like it can go through shields or something along the lines. So I know with sniper rifles in general, it's really good, because like your Widows and your Javelins with phasic rounds, it like one-shots enemies so quick. So this thing would be like, so the collector sniper rifle would kind of play in that as well. But when it comes down to it, I would also recommend disruptor ammo, just because what you're going to be able to do is just drain shields quick, and then once they're down to their armor, you can use flamer and you'll burn them to death. So that would go against like primes and atlases and just most enemies in general. Anything with a shield or barrier, you could just drain it, instantly. Another great thing about the collector sniper rifle is the fact that it's really easy to aim. It's just like the particle rifle. I personally feel that the particle rifle is just one of the easiest guns in the game to use, just because it's a beam weapon. You just kind of like shoot it, and you kind of just find your target and you hit them, and then they die. Now right here, I'm going to be kind of just chilling around, pretty much in this whole area of the map, because the enemies just constantly keep spawning next to me, and I'm just pooping on them. I mean, just look at this. I'm killing them so quick, and I mean, one thing you gotta also do with this combination of these two guns, you don't want to run out of ammo. That is important. You really don't. You want to try to manage it as best as you can. But the main thing that you want to constantly do is just use your flame first, and then if you could take them, once the shields are down of enemies, then they'll be on fire. They'll be stunned. And it is possible that you might run out of ammo. If that does happen, it's unfortunate. But there's some pretty cool tricks that I've learned about any kind of beam weapon like this, and I'll get into that once I'll give you an example of it shortly whenever I can, although I believe I fuck it up. Now, as you can tell, it's really difficult for the enemies to even like take my shields down, but I think right here is going to be my only death. It's coming up, just because there's so many enemies. I mean, once your shields are down, you got to remember you have so low health. So low health with any Geth, especially in this one as well, that you're going to be wrecked. So you got to keep that in mind. But I was able to get up and just murder all those enemies real quick, and that's that. Alright, so this is going to be wave 4, and wave 4 is like, well, this guy against Reapers in general is just so godly, because you just burn the crap out of armor. So, I mean, oh my god, Flamer just does so much damage. Look at that, like 13,000 armor is like down to like 2 bars in just in a matter of seconds. And like I said, if you combine that with this gun, it just does so much damage. Once they're on fire, if you shoot them with the gun and then you start doing incendiary ammo damage to them, / you start doing just the massive DPS damage to them, you're talking about just instant death on most enemies. Now, one thing you gotta keep in mind is that when you're playing against Reapers, especially with a guy like this where you don't want to ever lose your shields, anytime there's enemies with like a Brute is always a danger. Obviously, a Brute can hit you and stagger you and kind of mess you up, but they're not that big of a deal compared to the enemies that actually shoot. Shooting enemies are always the ones that you want to watch out for. That's the Marauders, the Ravagers, and Cannibals. Those are the things that are going to drop you the most. So if you find a group of enemies and they consist of Brutes coming at you, and then there's some Marauders and Cannibals, you pretty much, my best thing I can tell you is try to focus on the ones that will shoot you first. And then you can take your time on the brutes, because brutes are just so easy to kill with this guy. They come at you in a straight line and you just mow them down with your flame and your collector sniper rifle. You could also, if you wanted to, I mean, this is, what is it, wave 5, I already got 75 kills, that's crazy. But if you really wanted to, you could actually use a particle rifle, at least attempt it. I wouldn't recommend it too much, just because, I mean, your biggest danger is just this right here. If you run out of ammo, you're going to have to either reload it, or you can use my little trick. Obviously, every time well, actually, I would say you could use the trick almost every single time. I try to like, use it only when I think it's necessary. I'll just tell you the trick, since I can't give you an example right away. You'll see me do it, I think, once in this game. I'm going to mess it up once, and then I'm going to get it right the second time. Which is, if you ever run out of ammo and you want to get an instant reload, all you have to do is, once you're in the animation of reloading the gun, that 10-second or 5 seconds, whatever it is, animation of just nonsense of you reloading this gun, what you can do is that you can actually use one of your thermal packs, and by doing that, it will actually just stop that whole animation, and you'll start recharging ammo right away. But what you have to keep in mind is that it's only going to start recharging. It's not going to fully. That's what I forget sometimes, and I believe that that's what happens to me in this game at one point, is that it's exactly that. I'm using this weapon in that, with the whole idea of doing that, and then because I always think that it's just going to fully recharge it, I'll continue to shoot it. Well, when I continue to shoot it, it's only like actually 5 shots in it, so you'll instantly rerun out of ammo, and it's just kind of a big waste. So keep that in mind. So what I recommend to counter that is that if you're ever going to do that, if you're ever going to do what I told you, which is if you're in the reload animation, use the thermal pack, you'll instantly start recharging ammo. The best thing to do is use your flamer, or just use a power in general, you know, if you're just using this gun. But with this guy, use your flamer, let your ammo fully recharge, and then shoot it. That's what I love about this build. It's just the fact that, although I sacrificed Hunter mode, which, Hunter mode is so almost, it's really, it's such a Geth thing. You kind of always want it. But for him, you just don't really need it, because if you can figure out combinations like this, alright, right here is where I'm going to mess it up, watch. I'm going to shoot around ammo, then look, boom. But I started shooting again. You can't do that. If you start shooting again, you're going to instantly rerun out of ammo. You don't want that to happen. So the best thing to do, like I said, is start using flamer or a power, and then let it fully recharge before you actually start shooting it again. But it is really nice. I only like to use that trick with the thermal pack when there's actually enemies in front of me. If I kill, let's say I run out of ammo, but I kill all the enemies, I have nothing around me. There's no point to waste a thermal pack to just get that instant reload where I could just reload it, normally, and not really worry about it. I mean, oh my god, look at that. Fucking crazy. Like I said, so the DPS on this build is extremely high because of the combination of flamer and the really, really high DPS of the collector sniper rifle. So it really makes up for just, it just makes up totally for the non-hunter mode. As you can tell, flamer does a lot of damage even without hunter mode. So I wouldn't even worry about that in general. I mean, I really wouldn't. I wouldn't say that you need the hunter mode, and without the hunter mode, you are so much more beefy. You take so much damage. And one of the biggest problems with hunter mode on this build, or on this Geth Trooper in general, is the fact that when you gotta always remember, you have your shields, but it's only your base shields. So with the other Geth, their base shields are 750. So when you actually have that, it's only like 300 and something. It's not really that big of a deal if you can make up with it with like cyclonics or any type of shield boosting, or even fitness. Any type of shield boosting material or whatever, that will actually totally make up for the fact that you lose that shields, and it really is not a big deal. With this guy, it kind of becomes a bigger deal only because when you have 1,000, it's 500. So no matter what, you're constantly going to lose 500 shields, and that's never too great. And right here, that sucks. I hate it when that happens. When an enemy it seems like at this point, when an enemy like wants to stomp someone out, they don't. It's really hard unless you use like a power like I don't know, charge or something with force to knock them away from your teammate. it seems like it's really hard to get them from not to stop stomping your teammate. I hate that. Because, I mean, with that amount of DPS, I took his shield down instantly, I almost killed him, but yet he's still in there. He never staggered, he never caught on fire, anything like that to stop that, and I just, I hate that. So unfortunately, my buddy got killed right there, but it's whatever. Like I said, though, overall, I really do think that this version of the build is better. And I gotta be honest, the reason why I released that video, I mean, I was even, like, thinking about not releasing that video. Because by the time I was done with the commentary, like, I literally thought of this in the middle of doing that commentary. And I was like, man, maybe I should actually go change the build, get another gameplay, and then put the other one, this one out. But then I thought, you know, wait a minute, I guess it really didn't matter, because I just wanted to get out the video. I didn't really want to play Mass Effect anymore that day. So I decided, you know, whatever, I'm just going to go ahead and release it. But I felt that for most people, for the general player, that build would be just a little complicated, only because when you're dealing with such low shields and you're so flimsy like that, I mean, because that version is just so flimsy. When you're dealing with that, it's really hard to stay alive, and if you're not a very experienced player, if you just, you know, if you feel not so confident about staying alive, like, you know, charging into a group of enemies, then yeah, I mean, that's the problem. That would be a big time problem with that build. So I was like, you know, I think this is definitely the better way to go. And once I used it, then I was like, yeah, no, this is it. To me, at least, I really feel that this is a lot better. You don't die. You can still do a massive amount of DPS, and it's awesome. And I mean, I really love this trooper now, which I'm so surprised about, because, like I said in my last commentary about this, is that I thought I wasn't going to like this guy at all. I thought he was going to be kind of dumb, just because Flamer, I've always felt that Flamer was a very whatever kind of power. I mean, I haven't used a Vorcha in so long. I knew that it was good for fire explosions. I haven't used a Vorcha for so long. I didn't realize that it's just so good in general. And on top of that, you know, fortification. When I heard about that, I was like, I think they're trying to, like, you know, say, oh, it's a Geth soldier melee build, and Geth melee is definitely decent. It's definitely decent, but the problem I have with Geth melee is just that if you're not consistent, it takes some balls to play with that, because it's kind of cheap, and it's kind of like not good for your team. The problem is that you're able, with a Geth melee build, if you can do it right, you'll be able to kill enemies very quickly and steal a lot of kills. I mean, you just walk in a room and just boom, 1-2 melees, everything dies in the room. And that's crazy. Like, that's awesome, right? Well, the problem is that you're going to constantly get dropped. Because when you do his melee, he loses his shield, he has no health. So it's kind of balanced in the aspect that it's a really great melee, and it can be overpowered at times. But when you're talking about, you know, stealing people's kills and constantly going down and dying a lot, that's not good, especially if you're playing with randoms or something. They're gonna, like, want to boot you, just because that's like the ultimate no-no. You're gonna steal everyone's kill, and then your kills, and then on top of that, you're gonna die a lot, and they have to go out of their way to pick you up. That gets really annoying very quickly, and that's my biggest problem with the Geth melee. When I did Geth melee videos back in the day, if any of you guys remember them, and I was like, in one of the videos, I was just pissed off, because I was just like, God, this is so cheap. And I felt that a lot of people were gonna, like, exploit it, but I was really happy I was wrong, because, like, most people never even bothered with Geth melee. They just went ahead and used Geth Infiltrator javelins. That's what everybody was doing with the Geth Infiltrator when he first came out. Nobody was really messing with the melee, so I was kind of happy about that. But I feel like this guy is promoting that whole idea that go back to the Geth melee. It's awesome, but when you're dying a lot and you're stealing a lot of kills, I mean, you're just gonna piss a lot of people off. And I can't recommend you to do that. So I personally feel that this is probably the best way to build them and the best way to play with them. Like I said, you could use a lot of different guns. Right there, I did the trick and it worked. You know, well, I did it the right way. But, you know, like I said, there's a lot of ways you can build this guy. Well, I would recommend this particular build, but I would say that you can use any weapon you want. It just really depends. Like, you can use the Alkalite if you wanted to. You could use the Reeker Carbine would be another really good gun, honestly. That would be another really, really good gun. I just personally love the idea of being able to use a sniper rifle on like something like this. Because I'm able to use Operative Package, which will give me more flamer damage and more sniper rifle damage. And on top of it, on top of everything else, I can use a gun like a sniper rifle, which I have plenty of amps. I personally feel that I don't think anyone has a lot of shotgun amps. I mean, I really don't. I don't think anyone has a lot of shotgun amps because everybody uses shotguns, or a lot of people use shotguns. More people use shotguns than any other gun because the shotguns are the best guns in the game. They really are. Like, there's so many good, overpowered shotguns, you know, and that's just the way it is, and that's the way it's probably going to be forever. So it's nice to be able to use something like sniper, you know, like the sniper rifle, and like I said, the collector sniper rifle is such a easy gun to use. I mean, I told you before that when I'm making a build, I always try to think of different ways to deal with phantoms. And originally I had like the Geth plasma shotgun on because that was going to be my way with him of dealing with phantoms, just stagger the crap out of him and kill him. But this is also another great gun for phantoms. I love any beam weapon against the phantom, mainly because it's so easy to hit him with a beam weapon, especially like the particle rifle and this gun. And it just does so much DPS that you'll mow him down like so quick. And if you don't mow him down, that was awesome. I got grabbed, but my flamer saved me and burnt her ass to death. That was really awesome. But like I said, it's easy to hit phantoms with it. If the gun doesn't kill the phantom, your flamer will. All that kind of stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. And just have fun with this build. I mean, that's the main thing, is go have fun. And believe me, this game is a lot more fun when you're doing really well and you're not dying. If you're dying a lot, it's so frustrating. I mean, obviously, I think any game is very frustrating when you're dying a lot in general. And this build is definitely going to help you stay alive a lot longer, unlike my previous build, and unlike a lot of builds out there where, you know, you're going to exploit Hunter mode. I like Hunter mode, I've always liked it, but I just think on him, I just really don't recommend it. I mean, he's kind of designed to be the Geth tank, and that's really what he is. He's a tank. And he's the only tanky kind of, he's really the only tank in the game that can actually dodge and move around and be mobile and beefy. I mean, look at that. I laugh at that. I don't even have a Cyclonic 4 on. I mean, I feel like if I had a Cyclonic 4 on, I would just take no damage on gold. And on platinum, I would just stay alive easy as fuck. And with the combinations of these weapons, I mean, this is a platinum ready. I can honestly say that this guy is platinum ready. If you have Cyclonic 4s, and you want to run him with this, I mean, believe me, any beam weapon on platinum is great because it helps your teammates out and yourself out when it comes down to ammo. You don't have to worry about going to the ammo boxes, and your teammates don't have to worry about you constantly stealing your ammo. So this is a straight up platinum build in a lot of ways. On platinum, there's so many bosses, you're going to be able to take down shields quickly with your gun, and then to melt armor, which is all that matters. Alright guys, I really hope you have enjoyed this. I really wanted to come out with this video just to show you guys and, you know, just do something for you just because I've talked about this build in my video, but I wanted to just demonstrate it, how it's real beefy and real, just overall, like, really good. And I hope that you can see that, you know, I can still manage a lot of DPS with this as long as you use this kind of combination. And yeah, it's going to be pretty much it though. So please like this video. All that kind of good stuff. Yeah, have a nice day.